Good morning, everybody. I'm at a bit of a jaunty angle this morning here. I'll just straighten myself up a wee bit. How is everybody this morning? We've got loads of people in the chat already. How nice is that? Hi, Thea and Jan. Jan, I'm surprised you're up early this morning. Lovely. And we've got April. Hi, April. It's really late for you, April, isn't it? Goodness me. Glad to see that YouTube's doing its things, actually telling people that the stream. Hi, Michelle, and from Oz. Yay! Glad to have you here. We've got Snoo as well. Hi, Snoo Cat. Is this new or old? But then it said live. Yes, we're here. I do try and do one early bird stream a month, just so that people in other time zones can come and join in some live fun. Ping the Discord. Early in the morning for most Europeans. Yes, it is. We've got Katara as well. Good morning, Katara. How are you? And we've got Cara Marina. It's nice to see you too. 10:30 at night. Oh, that's not too bad, Katara. It's a Gem. Yes, I'm here. Okay, well, I'm glad to have you here this morning. I do just need a wee minute to get the old hand going a wee bit. I did actually, I say I have a lie-in, obviously it's not a lie-in because it's really early here, but quite recently I've been up really early, but I actually slept a little bit later this morning, which was nice. I'm sleeping really well just now, which is a very welcome side effect of running regularly. I always sleep much better when I'm running. So yeah, it's all good. But this time yesterday, I'd already run a mile. Like I was actually already out running. So yeah, this is so it's a wee bit later for me today. But yeah, I've been waking up like sort of 4:45, 5 o'clock, and a lot of the time I just get up and go and do stuff because I'm fresh, like I'm awake. So yeah, I just go for it. But this morning I was like, oh, it's 10 to 6, so like I better get up. That's one of the really nice things about living in Scotland in the summer. It is, it's light very, very early, so the sun's rising just now. But I mean, you've got enough light to see at about 3:30, maybe 3:45, and then by sort of 4:30 it's like full daylight. So you know, we do, obviously because we're quite far north, we get the sun a lot during the summer, but I find it very intrusive eventually. Like I get to the point where I don't like it because every time I open my eyes it's light. I am much more of a winter person, but that is the one the one nice thing is being an early riser. You know, you do have the daylight, so you can go out for a run at 5 o'clock in the morning and it's fine. So I notice more of a difference though here to the old cave, because in the old cave I was much further north, and there was a point in midsummer where it really didn't get properly dark at any point, and when it was kind of like twilighty, and it stayed like that for like 2 hours, and then the sun came up again. So I very much noticed the difference, but again I really struggled with that in the summer months because I was like, oh, I just want this sunlight to go away, leave me alone, like let me draw my curtains. But the flip side to that is obviously in the winter the dark is very dark, and it's dark for a long time, and in the middle of winter when we were up at the old cave, it didn't really get properly light until maybe 10, 10:30 in the morning, and by like 2:30, 3 o'clock you were starting to lose the light, and if it was overcast or raining it was just more or less dark all day. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, but for most people they very much enjoy this in the summer. As I say, I'm very split. I enjoy it for a while and then I'm like, oh, just go away, like I just want to close my eyes in it for it to be dark. Okay, get the hand going. So we're moving back to the gouache painting today. I would like to get it finished off. I don't have too much to do, so we'll see how we go. That feels a bit better. I'm trying to loosen things up a little bit. So we'll see how we go. We're going to have to do a fair bit of colour mixing this morning. So I've just got all my usual goodies here. So for the benefit of our friends who weren't in the stream on Wednesday because they were probably asleep or busy or something, I've got all my usual accoutrements. I've got some clean water for mixing and thinning down. I've got my little paint puck in here, so I'm going to put some fresh water in here, and that's going to be for cleaning my paintbrushes. I've got a couple of rags and a little bit of kitchen paper, and my little dragon friend to rest my paintbrushes on, and then my selection of gouache paints. So these are the ones that I've been using in the painting, and I've also got this little tub here which has got my greens and black and white live in this one. So we've kind of got everything we need. These are the exact paintbrushes I was using on Wednesday as well, and that the only reason that they're sitting like that is because I'd obviously taken them through and cleaned them on Wednesday, and I've got a little paintbrush dryer, so it's a little stand so that they hang this way, and obviously all the water drips down the way. So I did just left them there and brought them back through today. And I've also got a cup of tea, obviously, because it's me. Yeah, the equator is about 6 till 6, yeah. Well, we always notice it, see, when we go abroad, generally holidays abroad for us tend to be Mediterranean or nearer the equator, and it's quite a shift. So in November we went to Cyprus, and at home we were in that dark phase, and it was really weird. Just you know, it being light at 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh wait a minute, I'm waking up and I'm like, what time is it? Have I slept in? Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's really nice. I like it. Okay, so some of the things we have to do. I do have like a massive water splodge here, and I don't know when it happened, but it is right in the middle of the painting. So I don't know whether I'm going to try and fix that or not. I might have to have something strategic that's going to sort of come down here, and I don't know. So I might try and fix that first. And I think the best way to do it is to get our purples out and make this really light lilac shade, and maybe just put in some leaves and some branches and things. So I think we'll take that as a starting point. I'll zoom out a wee bit just so that you can see what I'm mixing and what not as well, because I know that some of you quite like that. So I've got my posh Schminke white. I'm really enjoying this mix in white. It's really, really good. I'm enjoying the Schminke paints generally, but I haven't used a lot of their gouache. This has been really nice. And I've also been using this, another posh one. I've been using this Holbein paint as well. And I'm really, really enjoying them. And they seem to go quite well with our Winsor & Newton ones, which is what I tend to use. Again, very readily available here in the UK. Can pick them up more or less anywhere for not too much money. I mean, you can get into silly money with gouache paints, and these big tubes, excuse me, these big tubes of Schminke paint are quite expensive, but you only need a tiny amount, and a tube that size lasts ages. Sunrise at 5 and sunset almost 9. Yeah. Well, I was kind of paying attention to that here last night, and it was 10:30 last night, and it was still light. It was very nice here yesterday though in the afternoon. So again, a lot of it for us is cloud cover, because again we tend to get quite a lot of cloud because we're in Scotland. But it was quite clear last night. So when you go to bed, you have to have the blackout blinds and the blackout curtains and stuff, or else you're basically sleeping in daylight. There's so much light out. Like, what do you want that for? That's funny. Okay, so this poor little battered Hebe brush. I think it's quite amusing that the bristles have ended up the same colour as the handle. That was not intentional. Those bristles start out white. But now we're all matchy-matchy. Right, let's see if we can get ourselves a nice lilac shade. Just pull some of this over. I do need, that's probably too watery, I do need this to be quite thick because I need it to be very opaque. That might not be too far off actually. Yeah. Part of the problem with this, well not really yet is a problem, with gouache, you kind of need to wait and see how it dries because again, opacity, so sometimes the lighter colours tend to dry lighter, the darker colours dry darker. So I'm going to get a teeny weeny brush for this. I've got this NYX Pro #1 round. I talked about these brushes the other day as well. They're very much budget brushes, but I like them. The bristles are quite stiff, and when I'm working in gouache, I like firmer bristles. A lot of people are quite happy to use watercolour brushes when they're painting gouache. I like it something a bit stiffer. Right, let me see what we can do here. I've actually got another one there. How did this happen? This might be too light. Well, I've managed to disguise that one. But see, the lovely thing is as well, even if it's a bit off, you can go over the top of it. You know, you can just add a bit of your, whatever your darker colour is. Let's just see if we can, not obliterate it, but that's a bit of a harsh word. But maybe if we can just, we're quite far in the background there as well, so I don't suppose, see? That might have just done the job straight off the bat. I do think just over time now, I'm much more confident in mixing my gouache colours, especially if I'm colour matching, and it's something for me that just took a lot of practice. And I would actually say now I'm much more confident in mixing colours in gouache than I am in watercolour. Yeah, I'm kind of like sort of just waiting to see what happens with this, but if I zoom this back in again, you can see, you can't really tell where I've added the paint and where it's already there, so I think that's mission accomplished, which is just great. Love it when a plan comes together first thing in the morning. Okay, right, so other things that we need to do now. We need to put some foliage on these two trees here. So there's these lighter branches in the background on this side, which I want to put leaves on, and then I've got these two darker branches that are sticking out, and my plan was to use them like I did in the original and put these sort of dirty looking vines coming down. So I'll need to get the leaves on first and deal with that, and then after that we can come into the foreground and get this really dark part put in and start to frame the picture. After we've done that, it's just a case of adding a few little highlights and extras in. So I'll put some more detail in the grasses and maybe on the path, but it'll just be little dots here and there. So really the finishing touches, that's what I'm getting at. That was something that I really wanted to ask. For the cat owners that are in the chat here, that are not in the UK, do you guys have Dreamies? Because that stuff is like crack for cats here. And I just wondered if it's something that like it's a brand that you get in other countries. When we went to Cyprus, in Cyprus there's loads of cats, there's loads of stray cats. And they have initiatives and things to look after the cats that are out on the street. Like they've got a neutering programme that they do. So when you see a cat that's got a notch missing out of its ear, it means it's been treated and they like it's basically been looked after and fixed, so to speak. So the ones that don't have a notch in their ear, you keep away from them because they've not been vaccinated or anything, and you don't know what they're carrying. But the ones that do have been, they've been given shots and stuff. So when we were there's this big stretch you can walk along the beach in front of like all the hotels, and there was this elderly man, and he must have been like late 70s, maybe even early 80s, and he had an industrial sized bag of zoomies with him. So his bag was like this size, and he just had it sitting on the sun lounger next to him, and he had like 3 cats around him, and he's sitting feeding all the Dreamies to all these cats. It was hilarious. But he was just like chilling out in his swim shorts and his flip flops, just hanging out with the cats. It was absolutely adorable. Okay, right, so I think to get this more in fitting with this colour here, we need to add a little bit of blue. So I was using 2 blues. I was using the indigo, but I also had the Arteza one. Yes, this Aegean blue. So I think I'm going to start with that and see what happens here. It might be... I can't remember if this is what I actually used, if I'm honest. It was so long ago. Jan's got a tub of Dreamies and she doesn't have a cat. Well, it's funny because my parents have got a tub of Dreamies. Well, Dad has a tub of Dreamies now, and they don't have cats either. There's green and Dreamies, no go for me. Oh, but you do have them. Okay, interesting. They say the cats go absolutely bonkers for them. I just want to see... I've got Jock here in the cave with me this morning, and he's extremely itchy. It is just that time of year where the weather's like an absolute nope for him. He's very heavily medicated just now. Yeah, they're like Katara. They're like tiny little cat biscuits, and they're treats. It's not like food that you would give them. It's not like a full diet food. They're meant as treats, but I don't know what they put in them. But I swear, blind cats just absolutely. Yeah, it's wild. Okay, I think I'm going to try sticking with the Nick Pro brushes. I'm going to go back to this number 4. I really like the shape of this brush, and I think it'll do well for leaves. So let me try up in this corner here. These ones are much paler though. Maybe they should have been purplier. Okay, let me just rejig this a bit. I have kind of obliterated all of my purple though, that's the only thing. We'll see what it looks like. Let's start here. I think I'll get away with that. I'm going to turn this slightly. get going with this a little bit. I don't like that brush for that. Okay, change of plan. I think then I've got a really nice cat tongue brush here, but it's too big for this. I could have done with a smaller one of those. Maybe I'll just grab I might go back to this Pro Art brush. Again, this was one that I used last time. It's got a bit of a longer, finer point on it. Let me try that. See if I'm a bit happier with that. Yeah, okay, we'll try it. Again, we kind of want to build this up in layers, so we just kind of like go steady just now. A lot of this, especially in these top corners, is really about framing rather than actually making it look more like a tree. I don't want to go too heavy on this side though, as I say, because I want to put these sort of vines in here, so we'll just maybe this is a late blooming tree. Can have some more up in here. We can kind of go ham up here, honestly. And we do want to start a sort of overlap here in front of these lighter areas. It's just for depth and, you know, so a bit of overlap there. I do want to use this more bluish tone though. The blue in it. Make for something a bit more interesting, because we know that branch was a wrong in anyway. We knew it was a wrong in. Right, if we come over this side now, oh, I nearly dropped that paintbrush there. Oh, that would have been a disaster. This is the dangers of painting first thing in the morning. That was a close one. I don't know how many of you caught that. Oh, that would have been awful. Because that would have been a big dark splodge right in the middle, knowing my luck. Can't be having any of that on a Saturday morning. Goodness me. So I would love to hear, are we still talking about cats? The stream is not buffering. I've got no dropped frames. It's not me. It must be YouTube. I've got a little disaster counter in the corner of the screen, and it tells me when the hillbilly internet kicks in and everything goes wrong. So maybe YouTube's dying of shock because we've got a busy stream in the UK at 10 to 7 in the morning. I don't know. for once it's not me, it's usually me. Like, oh, it's just Jem, don't worry. I was in a training thing at work the other day, so we're getting a new database system at work, and it's been delayed so many times, and it's finally going live on Monday. So we all had training on it like way back at the beginning of the year, and everyone's forgotten how it works. So they decided that they would do refresher training, and just because because my job role's weird, I don't really fit in a box, so to speak. So the girl that was doing the training had said to me, like, which training sessions do you want to be in on? And I was like, well, I'll go into these two. So when we went into the first one, I was the first one in, and the first thing I said to her was, how many people are in this training session? And she's like, oh, it's only a few of you. And I was like, right, I'll leave my camera on then. And she kind of looked at me, and I was like, if there's a lot of people with their cameras on, like, I'm better to turn mine off because my hillbilly internet won't cope with it otherwise. And she just started to laugh. And she's like, that is the funniest phrase I've heard in forever. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I call it. And she said, I never even thought of that. She stays in a town. She's not an agricultural person, so she's got very good super duper internet. She also works from home. And she's like, hillbilly internet? She says, I've never heard that before. I'm like, yep, standard. It's like, welcome to living in the country in Scotland. I still maintain, though, I was explaining to her, about streaming and stuff, and I said to her, I was like, actually, we do quite well. We've only had like a few complete disasters. Luckily, we've been very, very lucky so far. A car alarm went off, oh dear. Yeah, I don't think that'll go down well with the neighbours. Okay, so we're starting to build up now. That's looking pretty good. I think I might stick with this same colour for... Will I just go for it with what's on this brush? I might regret this. Oh, that's quite dry. Turn my camera off so folk can't see me sleep in meetings. You're a wronging you, Jan. I just wish I could. Like, I can't do stuff like that. Like, I'm just not... Like, my body's not... I've got enough problems sleeping at night, let alone trying to sleep during the day. Especially when it's broad daylight all the time. Just trying to build this vine up a wee bit here. So what I'm going to do with this vine specifically is when I put highlight colours in, I'm going to use green. Maybe like a darker green like this, just so that it sort of stands out and we can differentiate it between the branches of the tree and it being a vine. I'm going to bring that one right down there. And I kind of want this to be a little bit ragged because I want it to feel organic. So you see that I've got kind of like a bit of a split at the end of that there. Just accentuate that a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. Now I want these ones a bit darker, so I'm going to grab the indigo, I think. This poor brush, I keep looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's so sad looking. dry. There we go. I get that sometimes, Thea, and it's always my glutes, it's my bum muscles. No idea why, but it's just a thing. That's my stomach making noises, good grief. There we go. I think those are suitably hangy. Another great technical cave term for you. I'm just going to stick with this colour now. I'm going to come back over here and start building up. Start joining up these little patches. I'm trying to make these a little bit bigger as well. Again, just thinking about scale versus what's going on in the background. Sometimes when I'm going on to like the final layer, I switch to a bigger brush. You know, go to that cat tongue brush or maybe even a filbert. I feel like I need to work on the shape of this. Yeah, that feels a bit better. Just that was a very like straight line across there. The Twitters will drown out your tummy grumbles. Apparently we have to get quite a bit of rain later on. It's more tomorrow though. But what we do find that our weather forecast is overly dramatic when it comes to predicting like the chances of rain. You know, it'll say there's like there's an 85% chance of rain, when in reality it's more like 60 or 50. So when we get like a 35% chance of rain, we're more or less like it's not going to rain. And it just seems to be in this little pocket that we're in. But it doesn't rain here the way it does on the west coast. The rain's very delicate. It's almost like polite rain here. Very rarely do we get like, excuse me, like massive downpours that you would get on the west coast. Again, one of the things I just love about being on the east coast. It's just not nearly as wet. But see, where we are specifically, we're very protected. So we're very lucky when it's snowing and things as well. If you go, you know, maybe 10 or 20 miles east or west, there will be more. But we're just tucked in a nice wee ducat here. Okay, not sure how I feel about this. I feel like I don't have enough leaves, but I'm reluctant to overdo it at the moment. I'll maybe put a few darker ones here. especially up the top. So for these vines now that I've got this darker colour, I want to just start to pop in. And that darker edge there. And then, as I say, I'll use a green on this left hand side, you know, so that it looks as if we're catching light. I feel like I want to use some of this on this back side, excuse me, the back side of this tree. I've got a frog in my throat this morning. That's my wee birdies coming knocking. I don't know if you can hear them or not. I'll come to get some food. They're so funny. Like, knock, knock, knock. Hello, is anybody in? Okay, let's start going here. Try and darken this down a bit now. Oh, Katara, don't get Jan started on the Roman stuff. Unless you're really into it, in which case then go for it. Jana loves the Roman stuff. She's very knowledgeable though. Okay. I feel at this point that we are foliaged enough. Foliaged? Not a word, but okay. So now it's time to go for the big guns, and basically we want to make this sort of darker foreground area. So that's concentrated mainly on this part and up these sides, but we will add in a few bits and bobs at the top. So this is where we're going to bring in the black. And I'm going to plonk it there. I think that's safe. And for this I'm going to grab a filbert. It's just which size of filbert might be. I think that might be a bit drastic, that's a bit big. I've got a smaller one somewhere. Looking for a filbert. Ah yeah, let's grab the Escoda brush. I love this paintbrush. This is an Escoda Prado, and this was one of the brushes that was recommended to me for gouache. Jem wouldn't come down to visit me in case I drag her to see the Roman remains. Ah, well, yeah. It's just not my thing, honestly. I don't mind a bit of history. Like, I'm all up for a little bit of historical information. I don't know how much stuff on the Romans I can take, though. No offence, Jan. Oh my goodness. Dropping things. Right, I need to get my little dragon dude on the go here because I've got too many paintbrushes now. Just you keep a hold of those there, sunshine. Right, so we'll take some of the blue, put it into the corner. This is a little bit dilute, this patch here, so I'm going to pop that in there, and then I'm just going to get a bit of a smidge of the black, and then I'm just going to pull that all in together. The black on its own, it's a bit harsh sometimes, but I find if you mix it with like an indigo or a purple colour, it just gives you a much softer dark. So you can see, I mean, it's still really dark, but it's not black. And these are the fun, like these are the bits that I really enjoy because it's a bit of sort of risk taking. So that's like a really, really dark indigo, and I'm just going to start hammering in. This will probably just look shiny on the camera until it dries, but you'll get the gist of it. So let's just stick in some stuff here. Pull in some more of that blue. Maybe have it hang over this path a little bit here. And then the same on this side here, so like not precious at all. I don't want to totally obliterate that wee flower there, but it's just picking up. So maybe we've got something that's going to come up. Maybe we've got a bush that's going to come up here. You can see that's starting to dry now, so it is a good bit darker. But again, it's not, you don't want it to like take over the entire painting. That wouldn't be cool. So I think I'll have some sort of tree or something here, or maybe this is just going to be a big shrub. A big shrub or a smaller tree, I'm not sure which. Just something there in that foreground. The other thing I like to do a lot is if I feel as if something's kind of lacking, see just down the very edge here, so you can see where my tape line is there, I quite often will just put like a sliver down the side there. So you're not really sure what it is because it's kind of like off at the side of the frame, as it were. But it can sometimes just be really nice to have something a bit more solid along that edge, you know, just to help frame the picture. You don't want it to be too uniform though, because it kind of looks a bit too intentional, you know, it looks very deliberate. It's like, oh, we'll just obviously put that in there on purpose. So you can, you know, you can do what you like with that again, but it's more about just kind of like stepping back, squinting at it, see whether you think you're happy or not. So I'd maybe have just like a few little branches coming off there. You know, it's just a wee something off the side. It looks as if I've just drawn it in, but when I take the tape off, obviously it's going to be right on the edge of the paper. So if it makes you feel better as well, you can go onto your tape, you know, just for visuals. I'm at the point now where there's nothing sticking to the tape, so I'll not worry about it too much. And then if you've got a bit of a wobbly edge, you can correct it once you've taken your tape off. I tend not to do that. I tend to just like to leave things as they are. Right, I need some sort of tree here as well, and I feel like I'm just going to go for it. Brush is really dry. Let's mix a little bit more of this colour. I want something a bit more squat here though. Just get some little lines going off that there. Some kind of exotic bush maybe. Grasses maybe, I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to have a big branch that's going to come across this corner like that. And again, so it's come off from the side, and then maybe a slightly slimmer one and it can head up in that direction. And maybe we can even pull that out and bring it like so. And that gives us a nice corner there again, like just for framing. So now I've got this little cat tongue brush. I actually think I've got a smaller one than that. I can't see it at the moment. I'm pretty sure I've got a smaller one than that. But we use these for our big leaves, like our foreground leaves. Now I like to make sure I've got the imprint right before I start on the painting. So I usually see just on a scrap of paper, I'll do that and see what the shape's coming out like. Like a little practice run. So we're really getting that contrast here. Of this overhanging branch coming into the picture here. and these much bigger leaves. Off this big bad boy here. Oh, my point's splitting. Jock's having a wee snooze here and he started twitching away. He's dreaming. So we've got that nice overhang here. So can you see how we're sort of framing the sides of the picture here? And that is exactly what I wanted to go for. It does pay to have like a really dramatic contrast at some point in your painting. I just find that it's really helpful to have. So down here in this part that we made darker, it's actually dried not that dark. This side seems to be a little bit better. But I just want to kind of like make that a bit more interesting. And again, once we've sort of finished this section, we will add in like little highlights. You know, there'll be bits that maybe just catch a bit of light, because you know the visibility of what we've actually put in is quite low there for obvious reasons. So let's deal with this tree as well. I feel like this is a bit of a different beast, whatever kind of thing this is off the side here. So the likes of there, I kind of want to leave that little gap there so that you can see that there's light still peeking through. I don't want to cover it up entirely, but I do want to have whatever this is, whatever it is, my unidentified tree. And then I'm going to take a bigger round. Half my problem with paintbrushes is I'm spoiled for choice. I do have an awful lot of brushes that I use for gouache now, and the paintbrushes that I have for gouache, I only use them for gouache. I don't use them for anything else. I've got another Pro Art. This is the Series 60 Pro Lawn. So I just wanted a bigger tip, basically. So let's get some of that on there. And sort of longer, thinner marks here. Again, I'm gonna have to start like coming up with names, or you know, pretending that I know what kind of bushes these are. To be fair though, I much prefer made up bushes and trees. It's more fun that way. I think we've veered too far from reality here to start saying, oh, this is a sycamore tree or whatever. I think we're well past that point, honestly. So that gives us plenty of interest in this foreground as well, for sure. Right, let's start on here. So this is, I mean, this side especially and this corner is going to be pretty dark. I think I need to move back to my original brush that I was using for that though. Back to my Nick Pro brush, or else I still want the leaves to tie in with the tree that they're associated with. I don't want it too disjointed. And again, we don't want to take out too much here. You know, we do want to leave some of those lighter colours, and it's a case of picking and choosing. So in this instance, because light source is at the back and also slightly to the right, we want to kind of keep to this sort of back left hand side, and you can create areas where you can see shape in where the blooms have come out in the trees. When you're working in a big area like this, it can be quite difficult to get it the way you want it, but it's up to you to kind of like shape the areas. So for example here, you know, you don't want to be doing a huge amount really. And these lighter colours then act as your sort of highlighted areas. And then the further we come in here, the darker that's going to be, because that's not seeing any light there at all. Okay, I feel like that's enough. So we've just got those nice bits of light that look as if they're kind of poking through there. Now the question is, do I bring the dark all the way along the top? And I'm kind of feeling yes. I feel like this is very open here. And kind of like part of the plan of the original was, it was like, oh look, oh, like almost like an archway. And I don't really want to lose that. However, it is possible that we could ruin the entire thing. Which obviously I don't really want to do either. But I feel like if I played my cards right here, if I went easy, again, just almost like a frame. And maybe have like, think that this is a big branch that's hanging down. I think that's as low as I would want to go, to be fair. And then I'm thinking to myself, do I bring that all the way across? Maybe not. So I would love to hear for you guys in the chat, what have you got planned today? I know for some of you it's last night, it's Friday night, so what are your plans for the weekend? I can't say that I've got anything exciting going on this weekend. I'm trying to have a quiet weekend. Whether it's going to turn out that way, or I don't know. But immediately after this, I have shop orders to go to the post office, and after that, just all the usual stuff, like, you know, like the really boring stuff that you can't get done during the week. That is literally me today. Walk the dogs, you know, blah blah blah. Grocery shopping, not melting if it gets hot. maybe eat some food. Well, that sounds like a plan. I like that plan. Okay, I'm going to sit with this a bit. I'm not convinced about my efforts up here. I think I shall ruminate on that for a little while. What I do want to do now, though, is start picking out some finer details. So I'm going to start on this side, and I want to start on these vines. So I'm going to go to the Holbein green, the dark green. If I just, I'm going to flip this palette around a little bit so that you can see my colours. So this sort of viridian shade, and I want to start like catching some of the highlights. I'm going to need a little bit more white as well for this. Yeah, I feel like I've had, like, it's been a really, really busy week, and I don't want to do anything this weekend. I say apart from my usual stuff, but I've always got, like, I've got things to do every day. Like tomorrow morning's my long run, always do my long run on a Sunday. So I mean, I'm going to be out running for like over an hour tomorrow morning. And by the time I've done that and I've got showered and I've got changed and I've walked the dogs, you know, it's like, oh, okay. Snoo just wants some sleep. Well, I don't blame you for that. 100%. I need to try and get all this this colour off here. Look at the colour of that water, my goodness. I'll get a rag out for this. Do a bit of deep cleaning on the old Hemi brush. This is one of the reasons I like to keep a bit of kitchen paper. Once I've cleaned off a brush, I just like to make sure that there isn't any residue, especially if like going from a darker colour to a lighter colour, because you don't want it tainted. But generally I find that having a rag here is like just the easiest way to do it, and I can take a bit of clean water and put it on the kitchen towel, and if there's still any hint of colour, well, I know that I'm not clean enough yet, you know. I'll try that now. Because that's had a lot of like heavy purples and dark blues in it. I've just had a notification via Instagram on my watch about Derwent drawing pencils. I don't know if you can see that or not. Random. How very random. Random but welcome. Right, I think we're good to go. So let's take a teeny bit of white. Okay, that looks pretty good. Nice, nice, nice. And I'm going back to this little Nick Pro brush now. God, this is dirty as well, goodness me. I'm not doing a very good job of cleaning my brushes this morning. Now this might be too dark, but that's okay. We can lighten it up. I just want to see how that dries. So I'll leave that one vine to dry, and we'll see how it goes. Checking my car tyre pressures on the to-do list today. Hello Bella Stella, how are you? Jules, I didn't realise you were in as well. Hello. You have the littles coming in a minute. Just quick hi. Still warm here, most would say hot. I see water play alongside arty things. Thank you very much, Jules. Well, I hope you have a good day too. That was nice of you to pop in on the way past. I love it when that happens. I'm just popping in to say hi. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, I'm a little bit happier with this now. Maybe this is some sort of other plant that's decided to join the party, but I feel it just a bit more organic with things hanging down. Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. That's good. Okay, so my green is too dark. I'm not happy with that at all, so I'm going to grab a little bit more white. The thing is, I don't want it to be too light because it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So if we have to go in increments, that's fine. Oh, I think that might be better. Yes, definitely better already. Get these little lines in. Oh, the precision. Very unusual at this time on a Saturday morning with a paintbrush. It is much easier though during the summer months again, just because it's not damp. Like my hand's much better. And I can get it going quicker in the summer months as well. So there's two good things about summer. I've got these ones up here as well. I don't feel like they'd be catching as much light though. Maybe just a hint. It's gouache, Bella. Lots of gouache, lots of different brands as well. I'm mostly using Winsor & Newton, but I do have some Arteza, and we've been using this green that I've got here just now is the Holbein. And I'm using the Schminke Mix in White. This is a recent addition for me. I swear by the Talons White. I use it all the time. But I was given a tube of this and I really like it for mixing. I really like it. Okay, yeah, much happier with this. So you can see now, if I just zoom in a wee bitty, I'll put that back on autofocus for a second. You can see how it's just given definition to those vines because they were kind of sort of disappearing into the branches in behind, so that's just made them like pop out a little bit more without being, you know, like really obvious. Ooh, look at me, I'm a highlight. So that's exactly what I was going for. That's what I like. I'm very happy with that. So we shall carry on. This is actually quite a good zoom level to have. Round the very edges here, I want to take a tiny bit of this lighter green. And maybe like in there, just have a few little extra bits just because I can, basically. So maybe like down this edge as well. I can hear Mr. Jem buzzing about outside. He's up and on the go this morning as well. He's been away for a few days and he was absolutely adamant that he was having a lie-in today. And then when I told him I was getting up to live stream, he's like, oh, I'll just get up. I've yet to get me some gouache. I have a ton of art supplies already. Well, you know, so do I, to be fair. But gouache is my favourite thing to paint in. And the amount of gouache that I have now is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm the first person to admit that. But I do like it. Okay, so sticking with this green now, I'm moving on down to my mystery, frondy, bushy thing. And the same thing, I just want to pick out on this left hand side, obviously because we're on the right here and the light source is over there. So we want to pick out and define some of these areas here. So maybe there. So we're just giving some shape to this so that we, you know, that we can see that it's there. And it doesn't, like, literally that's all it has to be, but you can now see that, oh, right, there's actually a form there, like there's a shape there, whereas before it was a bit sort of iffy, you know, it was just like, well, it was like a dark area. And this is kind of what we want to do here as well. You know, we put a something in down the bottom here, but it was just a shape. So we can start to define that by adding in just a little bit here and there. Again, just you know, when the light's catching it a little bit, maybe down this side as well. And we can start to pop in a few lighter grasses here, so pull in a wee bit more white. Like, just to give us a bit of an edge there. Okay, that's too white. Come on, Jim. It's a bit obscene. There we go. That's better. That's better. So just, you know, use this sparingly. And you can just pick out wee odds and bods. So we can do the same on this side. See, there's that look at that dirty great big bit sticking up there. Make it look a bit more like a something. Yeah, I think, well, that was very much up to the imagination, Katara. As I say, that this is like an actual door on the farm. And we've only been here not quite 3 years. But everyone calls it the green door. And if you were to walk past it, it hasn't been green for many, many years, it's very obvious. But I would imagine, knowing the paints that we use on the farm and the type of paint that would have been available, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it's very likely it would have been like a British racing green, because the colours that we tend to go for are black, that weird rusty red colour that's not really very nice, and like a dark green. That's the three like agricultural paint colours. So that was kind of why I went for that. You see a lot of park benches in the UK that are this colour as well. Again, not so much now, but like the old-fashioned ones, if they've been painted. So that was what led me to that decision. And plus as well, I like this is a colour palette that I love to use when I'm painting these types of paintings. Right, okay, so coming up here to this bush, same thing again. I just want to pop in like a little bit of something. It doesn't have to be a lot. So maybe like just the very edges here. Just there's like a wee tiny bit of light catching that. Especially there's a gap in that tree there, so, oh, you know. I do really enjoy putting all these little touches on as well. Like, it makes me really happy. Fill that out a bit. I feel like it deserves more love, even though it's off to the side. Yeah, I have to say I'm pretty happy with this. Oh, honestly, I'm a lot happier with this than I was with the original. Put it that way. But to be fair, that wouldn't have been difficult. I was just very, very frustrated. I'm just coming back up here now. I feel that this looks really out of place because we've got a lot more sort of bluish purple colours, and this is quite harsh now. So I'm going to go back to the Aegean blue. Now that sounds a bit counterintuitive because it is very blue. But I'm going to mix that back in with this purple colour again. So that was the brilliant purple, which I do think is brilliant. It's a very nice colour indeed. It's just very, very pretty. Very, very pretty. I want to take some of this harshness away and just make it a little bit softer. So and again, it doesn't really have to match because this is, you know, this is a plant on its own. But if I just pop in a couple of bits of something there. Just to kind of like take the edge off it almost. Excellent. Okay, this dirty great big branch here that I decided to put in at the last minute. Also don't want it looking out of place, so we're going to use that same colour. And just making sure that there's nothing wet here before I put my hand in it. I want to just put a little bit of texture in there. Again, so you don't have this solid, like, dirty, great big lump, because it's really easy to do that and things end up looking really blocky. So I put a teeny bit of white in there. Give me this slightly lighter colour. And maybe just have that wee bit of a lighter edge along there. So it's still very much in fitting with the picture, but it doesn't look like I've plonked a dirty great big line in, you know, after the fact, which is exactly what I did. Okay, so something that's been bugging me, and this is ridiculous. See these little blue flowers that I put in? They're very flat. They're not very dimensional in any way, shape or form. I think it was the primary blue that I used for that. You guys that were in on Wednesday can correct me if I'm wrong. If we ever doubted the Hemi paint and paper, it literally, it wasn't that one thing in particular was terrible. I would like to point that out. The supplies themselves weren't bad, and you know, like, I've definitely had a lot worse. Like, I've used a lot worse, but it was the combination of the paper, the paints, and only having the paintbrushes that I had, and the time constraint of filming the scroller challenge. It was all those things together, and I was so frustrated. So frustrated. And the paper wasn't great though. Like, to advertise it as paper for gouache, I'm like, nah. Right, so again, a little bit of white here next to my primary blue. We're going to go ever so steady here. So I'm back to this little NYX Pro brush again, which I seem to be favouring this morning. Get a bit of that, stick it in the blue. So this is very reminiscent, and one of the parts of my trail run is through a kind of forest area, and up until recently there's just been this carpet of, you know, it's just like a sea of bluebells, and it is so pleasant to run through. I got a bit of a fright the last time. When was that? That was not yesterday, the Friday before, and it was literally like 5:30 in the morning. And when I went to run down the track, there was a vehicle parked, and we tend to know the vehicles of, you know, the people that stay round about us, you know, like the dog walkers or whatever, you know, because they're our neighbours. And I didn't recognise this vehicle, and the first thing that I do, I mentally take a note of the number plate, because it might be somebody trying to damage something in the farm or, you know, whatever. So anyway, about 10 minutes later, completely forgotten about it by that point, and I'm just along my merry way singing to myself, you know, jogging along. And here's this guy in like full camo gear with his camera on a tripod, and he turned around and looked at me, and I think he was as surprised to see me as I was to see him. So I took my earphones out and I was like, well, you're early this morning. And he's like, well, I could say the same thing about you. So we had a bit of a laugh about it, but he said he'd come specifically at that time in the morning so that the light was coming through the trees at a specific angle so that he could take a photograph of this, you know, this carpet of bluebells. So it was actually very interesting, but I was having this conversation as I was like running past him, so it was a bit sort of disjointed, but very interesting. But my God, like, I don't expect to see someone at 5:30 in the morning in the middle of a forest, let alone slightly camouflaged, you know. I was like, oh, there's a person. So that was quite funny. I'd be really curious to see his photographs now though. So if I ever bump into him, I'll be like, excuse me, I was that lady that was running past you, can I see your pictures please? It's such a nice spot though. It's really nice to walk in, and it's really nice to, you know, like take the dogs and everything as well. It's a good little bit, and it's relatively quiet. It is private ground, but we do have people walking through, right to Rome in Scotland and all that. But you tend not to see people at 5:30 in the morning. Okay, I'm much happier with my blue flowers now. Like, I just felt that they were like super out of place. Like I really did. Okay, the question I'm asking myself is, am I done here? I'm not sure that I am. I'm kind of at that point though where I don't want to ruin it by adding any more to it. I feel like this might be a good place to stop. I kind of want to do a bit more with these flowers though. I don't think I am finished, guys. The colour that I'd used for these little pink flowers, oh, excuse me, was the Bengal Rose, which again, really pretty colour. I would say it's fuchsia, honestly. I know in the camera, say it does look quite red on the camera. If I just pull this over, but it's very pink. But again, exactly the same thing again. Just take a wee smidge of white, plonk that in there, and let's. I know they're like tiny details, but we want them to be. Jock is now snoring. He's very content this morning. See, I just feel like that's instantly better. I kind of wanted to make this grass, like see at the verge here, I kind of wanted to make that a bit more overgrown looking as well. I feel like this looks almost a bit too curated and tidy and looked after. But is it the pinkest pink? No, maybe, I don't know. See, like, can I just this brush is not cooperating with me now. Come on. Why are you not cooperating? That's too light. Because we use the more sort of sap green colour for this base here, if you remember, it was more like a yellowish green that I used. This more sort of viridian colour should stand out a little bit. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted. Maybe bring it out onto the path a little bit. See how that's just like, ah. That's the noise it makes, ah. I mean, the reality is now everything's growing up really tall, and you know, everything's just kind of like popped out because of the time of year. And when if I want to use this door, I'm kind of tramping through a lot of everything. Which is why when we walk here, we always have tall boots on. The boots that I wear, they're called lifestyle boots, but they're based on a riding boot, so they come right up to your knee, and you do not wear shorts because you will get ticks and all sorts of other things. And it's exactly how we distinguish tourists from locals, because in the summer you see everyone walking along with like shorts and t-shirt on, and you're like, yeah, you're not from here. Like, cover your legs up for the love of God. Whereas everybody locals always got trousers on, and that's why I always wear jeans to walk the dogs. More specifically skinny jeans, because they fit in the boots well, and everyone's like, oh, skinny jeans are so out of fashion. I'm like, I don't care. They fit in my boots, they're comfortable to wear. Get out. But yeah, because we have a very heavy deer population, the tick situation is outrageous here, and they tend to fester more in long grass. So yeah, we're very careful with that. We check our dogs after every walk. Not so much Jock now, to be fair, because he tends not to do all the rummaging about that he used to do. He tends to stick to the path with me now, but Pip's forever in and raking about, and you know, you just see like everything moving, and you just see like the tip of her tail like wiggling about like a little flag. So we've got to check everybody over and make sure that everyone is tick free. They do have medication to take as well, obviously, but yeah, it's the tick situation is grim here. Right, I feel like that's pretty good. So I do want it kind of like a bit more overgrown. There's so many spots on the farm that I want to like do this with. It's not just the. I feel like that's standing out a lot as well. Maybe with that darker. Is that too much? This one as well, that's like a bit offensive. There's so many little spots that I want to make into this type of painting. And this is actually something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've done a couple of sketches before, but this is the first time I've really sort of made anything solid. There we go, I've accidentally made that into one in the foreground, and I'm not mad about it. I kind of like it when that happens. It's just like it's off to the side of wee jaunty angle, so I suppose we should maybe make this into an actual plant at the front here. How cute's that? That's turned out really well by accident, love it. These ones I just had more, I didn't really have the intention of making these into bluebells, to be fair. They were just another, you know, like random made up something or other. Oh jeez. It's fine. Don't know what I'm going to do with this little dude up here as well though. Let's give him some more something. It's funny, my friend's wee boy calls these dotty flowers. You know, because when you look up really close, it's obviously just paint splodges. Isn't that hard and long fur? Our collies are both short-haired. Well, Jock's technically not short-haired. He's like somewhere in the middle. But we both of our collies are short-haired, and it's one of the many reasons that we've always had short-haired collies. See, when they're working dogs as well, they're just so much easier to bath and keep clean, and they dry quicker. And it's amazing the number of people that don't know you can get a short-haired border collie. There was a lady that stopped me in the vets once, and she was talking, I think it was Pip, I don't think it was Mist, because Mist was short-haired as well. I can't remember exactly, Katara, but anyway, at one point I was stopped and she's like, oh, is she a crossbreed? And I'm like, no, she's from a very strong breeding line of short-haired border collies. And she's like, pardon? She's like, you don't get short-haired border collies? I was like, yes you do. Like, there's one right there. Very interesting conversations to have with people, but also obviously you get the other herding dogs as well. So like the healers and the kelpies and the Australian shepherds as well are all short coated. Everyone thinks when you say border collie, they think of like the big sort of shaggy coat, and the longer haired ones are beautiful, but they are not practical to have as working dogs, and they're definitely not practical to have in Scotland. Some people still have them though, which is fine. But because our dogs are in the house as well, like obviously we don't want to bring ticks into the house, aside from the fact that we want to keep our animals healthy. So yeah, we've always gone for the short-haired ones. You tend to find with Pip is a short-haired border, and they have pointy ears. Their ears don't fold over at the top. Their ears go straight up and down, and it's just one of those weird genes that's in there. Jock's a tricolour collie, so he used to be tan, black and white. His tan patches are all grey now, and you tend to find with the tricolours that they've got foldy over ears, and I just think like they're very cute. Like they're much better looking dogs, because when Pip's on full alert, she's got like these big bat ears. Why aren't they practical? For all the reasons that I've just said, coat wise. I mean, you've got to remember it rains a lot in Scotland, so your collie's going to be up to its armpits in mud a lot of the time, and it's very difficult to keep them clean, and it is very difficult to pick those ticks out as well, because you've got to sit and comb through all the longer fronds, but they are much prettier. In terms of their ability to work, there's no difference. That's a very individual dog situation. Right, I'm going to step away from this for a wee minute. I feel like I need to do something in this corner and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to take a wee break. I'm going to refill my tea. The very little that's left in there's absolutely stone cold. So I shall go and do that and see if anybody needs a bathroom break. And when I come back, we'll maybe just do a bit of touching up and decide. Also here as well is annoying me, and I don't know why. If anybody's got any suggestions for these two areas in particular, please feel free to let me know in the chat, and I'll be back in just a wee minute. Also, feel free to have breakfast chat or dinner chat if you're one of the ones that's on the other side of the pond. We don't have Ulrika this morning to tell us what she's having for breakfast, so you're all going to have to get imaginative. And I'll be back in just a wee minute, guys. Okay, I decided against the tea, just because I didn't realise how late it was. It's after 8 already. So I'm just gonna go for it. So, oh, Katara had sushi for dinner. Oh yeah, that sounds amazing. Do you like a good bit of sushi? I don't know. I'm almost tempted just to leave this alone, guys. I don't know what you think. I feel like I'm at that point, which I've got a terrible habit of like, oh, I'll just add in a little bit there. I'll just add in a little bit here. Maybe I should just leave it alone. I'm not sure. Has anybody got any thoughts? I would welcome any thoughts at all, to be honest. I do feel like I maybe want to put some more the grass or something in here. I'm very indecisive this morning. I kind of want to leave that alone as well. I don't know what's going on today. Like, do I really want any more in here? Yeah, maybe just like a few bits and pieces, like maybe in here. A tip of light on the very edge of the bush. This bush, Jules? This could be lighter maybe? Or this, or do you mean the front one here? I feel like this might be a bit, oh, I don't know. Let's just pop something in here, because why not? Yeah, maybe there's like a little group of something here. Maybe it goes up the side of the bush. Like that. This one. Okay. Yeah, do you know what? I agree. Thank you, Jules. That is an excellent suggestion. It's maybe just a wee bit too dark in there. I think maybe just on this very edge part. You can pop out a little bit more. Ah! Yeah, good suggestion. Love it, thank you. Can always make it darker if I don't like it. I don't like it. Just where it's peeking over the wall there. I do find it quite easy to overdo like the highlighty type things. Again, you just kind of get carried away with yourself a wee bit, honestly. And I feel like along the top of the gate as well. See this bit that's protruding here? Protruding, that's a good word for a Saturday morning. I could sit for ages and put stuff like this in, though. Like, it is a problem. it's a problem. And, you know, like underneath here as well, like maybe there's just a little, ugh. Just nobody's going to notice that, but I know that it's there. Have fun, Jules. Thanks for popping in and thanks for your suggestion. I actually think I might just have to leave this alone. The other place that's kind of bugging me though is the side of this tree trunk here. I feel like it should have like a bit more light on it too. So I don't know whether maybe with this purple colour actually. Seeing as it's here on my palette anyway. That's too light though. God damn it. I shouldn't have done this with this little brush. Never mind. Just want to maybe that lilac-y colour, that might be a bit too light. But I feel like there might be just a few areas here. Like literally just that very edge. And then maybe like here. That's a wee bit too light though. Or maybe not actually. I'll say let that dry in. That was annoying me though, because it was this big sort of like solid, you know, chunk of trunk. Okay, I feel a bit better about that. Okay. You can't really see that side in there, so I think I'll just leave that alone. And again, if I come over this side, just in here, I feel better about that already. Yeah, okay. I actually think I might call it quits there. My eye keeps coming back down to this bottom part as well. The animals outside are so noisy this morning. There was a deer barking outside my bedroom window when I got up this morning. I don't know if any of you have ever heard a deer bark, but it's quite an unsettling noise if you're not used to it. And I don't know whether it was lost or because normally when they bark like that, it's like a danger warning to their herd mates, and it was on its own, so I have a feeling it maybe lost its pals or something, but it's not a noise that I needed to hear at 5:45 this morning. The crows are really noisy just now as well. They're nesting and mating and all sorts. They are the bane of my existence, but hey ho. And there's all sorts of birdie noises and the bulls are rumbling about as well. Everyone's like, oh yeah, farm life's so peaceful. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, I feel like this is looking a bit more interesting now down here. I'm a lot happier with what's going on here. I do want to add in a little bit more to this area here. Pip is crying outside the door. Pip, come in. Just making her little squeaky noise. She's such a noisy dog. Like, she's always been a noisy dog. Ever since she was a puppy. She's quite chatty. I feel like that looks less bare now. I'm a lot happier with that. And I've sort of inadvertently made like a little line here, so I think that I'll just build on that a little bit. Follow that tree root down there a little bit. Gives it a bit of definition as well, I suppose. Do you know, this space here is really annoying me, and I'm just going to go for it. This might be risky. But again, I feel like there's so much going on, and I did want it to be quite lush, so I'm not going to be precious about it, because again, I can paint over it if I don't like it. Fun. put a wee vine in there, why not? An overgrown something. I kind of, because I was looking at this one as well, and it looks kind of simple. Maybe I want just little, I don't know, like little offshoots or something. Trying to like not make it look like a centipede. I can just zoom in a little bit more on that. So you can actually see what I'm doing. Good morning, Ulrika. The damned collared doves. Yeah, there's lots of extra noises just now, and not all of them are welcome. Mr. Jem also has gas guns, so like bangers on all the crops to stop the mostly the crows and the pigeons, because they're the main offenders. So they're on a timer, and the bangs go off every hour. Not on the hour, but we've discovered that the timer on the actual cannon must be slightly off, because it's happening earlier and earlier. So when I'm out walking the dogs, I know where the cannons are, obviously, and I try not to walk past them when they're about to go off, because Jock will actually drop dead of a heart attack, and it makes me jump out my skin if I'm like, I've forgotten about it. But they've been getting earlier and earlier, so I'm having to adjust my timing slightly. But they're so loud. They are so loud. But it's weird, because when I'm at home, when I'm in the house, I don't, I hear them in the background, and some of them are quite far away, and I don't think twice about it. But when I'm out walking the dogs, I'm like, holy Moses, like actually like thought I was going to throw up because I've forgotten about it. And again, that's just that's a country noise that you get used to. It's the same on shoot days as well. Obviously, we're not the only rural establishment in the area. And you get to hear very quickly when someone's having a shoot, because all you hear is pop, 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 pop in the distance. So everyone's like, oh yeah, but living in a farm, living in the country, so peaceful. It's not, it's just different noises. it's just literally just different noises. I feel like that's a little bit too light. Okay, I feel a bit better about that, I think. I'm really tempted as well to get the this sage green colour. So this is the Arteza paint that I really liked. And darken this down a little bit. I'll go back to my Mahimi mixing brush for this. Look at the state of that paint palette, my goodness. And just grab a bit of this indigo colour. It's starting to dry up a little bit. Mute that down a little bit. Hi, Pippi. What's happening? She's like, "What? Why are you sitting here at this time of day? I don't understand." So I've got a slightly more muted colour here. I can feel Pip's eyes boring into the back of my head. She's like, you're not on the schedule, what are you doing? Okay, so back to this little Nick Pro brush. It's dried out a little bit, so we're going to take advantage of that and stick this in here. So trying to keep that brush really, really dry. Oh, goodness me. That was not supposed to happen. Just dab that out a bit. I'm going to have to do something with that now, goodness me. I just felt that this area here in particular is very clean looking in terms of our stone. Kind of feel the same over here. Things are just looking a bit too bright for my liking. The reality is, this stone wall, it's starting to lean because it's not attached to anything anymore. It used to section off a part of the farm that went down to the old church. We have some of the oldest gravestones in the area. Yeah, you can't read them anymore, they're ancient. But this used to form part of the grounds of the church. Many, you know, I'm talking like 1600s, maybe even before that. So this is say is it's not really attached to anything. It's just like a bit of wall that goes round a corner a little bit. So it's very tumble down and unsteady in places. This is a much more pristine version of it. A black and white cat just came in to ask why I'm sitting at a computer. Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't normal. Okay, right, I think I'm going to stop there because I am at risk here of overdoing things quite substantially. So, I've got 2 layers of tape to take off. I'm just going to see how this goes. I'll get the bottom layer off first. My little birds, I can hear them. I'm sure you can now too, clattering away at that feeder. I'll need to top them up this morning. Oh, hello Dominique, how are you? Let's get this. I have to say, this was the tape that came in the scroller box, and as far as washi tape goes, it's been great. Bearing in mind that this has been on this painting for weeks, it's held itself down incredibly well. Incredibly well. So thumbs up for the masking tape or washi tape, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that is the outer layer. Let's see how we get on here. I've got a feeling this is going to pull up the paper because it's been stuck to it for so long. Normally I would go and get the hairdryer. I don't have a heat gun anymore. But that seems to be coming off fairly well if I take my time. Look at that crisp edge. Oh my goodness, yes. One is extremely happy with that. Oh, that's coming off that paper beautifully. Wow. So that's a good combination of washi tape and paper if ever there was one. I can hear one of my bulls mooing as well. He's such a diva. Don't know if you heard that or not. Moo. Okay, so you can see what I was saying about that tree on this side. You're just getting the very, very edge of it. And it's just a really nice way to frame things. Oh, that's coming off beautifully, beautifully. The colour palette is your favourite. Oh, that's nice. Crispy lines indeed. Well, see, I tend to, when I'm doing these sort of more fantasy-scape type things, I do tend to gravitate very much towards, especially like purples and indigos. I should maybe try with a completely different palette just for fun. I often thought about doing a monochromatic one as well. You know, like actual black and white, not monochromatic isn't just using like purple or green, but an actual black and white one. Yeah, this is going well. Right, let's not fall at the last hurdle. Okay, this has instantly made me happy about my decision along the top as well. I thought it was going to be too much, but I couldn't actually see where the tape was in places. But I think I've positioned that in a satisfactory manner. There we go. Well, well, well. Mission accomplished. It's taken me forever, but there we go. I'll pop that down there. So let's just have a wee side by side here, shall we? Or a top to bottom. So there was the original Hemi painting, and you can see, well, to me at least, the differences are very obvious. Precision with paintbrushes, again, I was very limited. I just had the Hemi brushes, which granted aren't the best. So you know, I kind of felt a certain way about it. And I felt that especially the darker parts here, that like this was too harsh. And it makes this back part look really, really washed out. Whereas I feel I've had just like a bit more finesse with this one. So you've still got these darker areas that we talked about, but I almost feel like that was too much contrast, if you like. It was just such a harsh jump from here to here, whereas this is much more gradual, and it makes the light look, well, as natural as pink light's going to be, but it just looks a bit more natural. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really happy with it, and I'm so glad that I redid it. Like I really, really am, because I feel as if I'd let myself down with this because I knew I could do better than this, and I was very frustrated by it. But part of it is the fact that when you're doing scroller challenges, like I have a time constraint on myself. And I've only got limited time to do it, but I've very much taken the view, and it's been for a number of years now, that when I do these scroller challenges, it's almost like draft paintings, and a lot of good things have come out of that kind of thing in doing the scroller challenges. But this one in particular, because it's something I really like to do, is painting gouache. I really wanted to make a better job of it, and I can say that I'm at peace with myself about it, and I definitely feel a lot better about this one. The door in this one looks a lot more like the green door that actually exists in real life as well, so I think I'm much happier with it just generally. But even if you look at the paint quality, see if I just zoom in a wee bit here, I mean, look at this, and like there's a lot of really yeah, it's just the paint application and how it goes down on the paper, like it's night and day between the two. It really, really is. And if you look closely at this, there's a lot of very rough areas, and considering those were the first layers of paint that went down, you know, that it's just like, oh, well, okay. But even to the wall, and see, trying to put details in on the wall with the Hemi brushes and this paper versus what we did here, like it's just not the same thing at all. So very, very, very glad that I took the time to do this. But as I say, that was just one of those ones, like I kind of had to do it for myself, honestly, or else I wouldn't have had held myself in very high regard. It's like, you know when you can do better, and therefore you should do better. So I'm just grabbing this wee Posca 1MR. I've still got a couple of these in the stash shop, I think. The Posca pens, that's one of like the slower selling items in the stash shop for obvious reasons. It's not a thing you need to replace a lot unless you're a person that uses them all the time. But I can't remember whether I've still got some of these in stock. I've still got the black ones, but I'm due to restock the Posca situation just shortly. So also the Molotov masking pens, they're going really quickly. I don't have many of them left, so we shall be putting in a little see white order sooner rather than later for these things. I'm just going to pop my name down in this very bottom corner. There we go. Yay, happy days. I feel like that's a really good start to my Saturday, guys. You would worry that someone using the first supplies would be put off gouache a bit. It happens all the time with people that start with Himi gouache. And it's such a shame because it's not... like, Himi gouache isn't like this gouache. Like, it's a different thing. And I've never been able to get used to the texture and the thickness of the Himi gouache. Like, I find it very difficult to manipulate it into the way I want it. And it's definitely a technique in itself. So yeah, I would agree with that. For anyone that's using gouache for the first time and uses Himi, I wouldn't say it's a good place to start. I have to say, see, these are teaser colours. These are really, really affordable, and I find it very agreeable as gouache. And if you're looking for a starting point, I would definitely say that the Arteza ones are an excellent place to start. So... Ulrika says Scrawler Box introduced me to a lot of supplies, some good, some I didn't like. Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's but the thing is, they're so good for that as well. And I feel like at this point for myself, I've been away from subscription boxes as a whole for quite some time. I think it was over a year. And it's nice to come back in, because if there are new things coming in, I'm kind of finding out about them too through the boxes again, which is nice. Yeah, Bella Stella, they do. I don't know what they've still got available on their website. Again, it depends where you are in the world, but they used to do a great big, like a massive set. But they did a smaller set as well. I think it was like 12 tubes or something. So they are, but they're very affordable. And as I say, I think that the balance between the price and the quality is very, very good. Definitely. And the fact that I still use them, and I'm using things like the Schminke and the Holbein gouache, which is very expensive in comparison, but the Arteza is definitely a good starting point. I have tried some other budget gouache, and strangely I actually have a set to try, which I'm going to do a video on, and I'm really, really hoping that this one that I've got is a good one and I can recommend it to people that are maybe wanting to try gouache. So yeah, it's one of those things. But again, a lot of it's down to preference as well. Like, I know loads of people that love the Himi gouache, and I'm like, no, what's wrong with you? But horses for courses. I just don't like the idea of someone spending like a butt ton of money on gouache and then be like, oh, I don't like this. So the Arteza is a good place to start. The yes, I miss your despair at a box of markers. Hate getting markers and subscription boxes. But the really good thing about gouache is that you can buy a reasonably sized set so that you don't have to mix a lot of colours from the get-go without spending an absolute fortune. And it's one of the reasons I like acrylic paint as well. It's just, in terms of a supply, it's relatively cheap in the grand scheme of things, and you get to do really fun stuff like this, so it's all good. Winsor & Newton designer gouache is nice too. Again, I think that depends where you are in terms of price, Theo. Like, it's quite cheap for us because we're in New Zealand. It's very cheap for us in the UK. But yeah, that's it. Winsor & Newton designers gouache is kind of like a middle of the road. And I find it the most accessible just because it's easy for me to go out and buy, and like I can pick it up anywhere. But again, it's very agreeable with other gouache as well, for mixing it and stuff. So it's all good. Right, guys, I'm going to call it there. I need to get to the post office this morning. I also need to get out of my my summery pyjama top, which I hope you all really like. I do have matching shorts. I don't have the shorts on. It's not warm enough here to be sitting about in shorts and t-shirt. But I have to take this off. I'm going to go to the post office. Go and get the shop orders posted. So if any of you have got waiting on a stash shop order, I'm going to the post office today. We'll get that done. We, in terms of going forward, obviously this is now the 30th, so we've only got one more day of May. So over this weekend, I will put up the live stream schedule for next month. I've got a really busy month next month. I was hoping to have more videos out this month, and it's kind of just not happened, Cavan and stuff. So I'm just going to have to see what I can squash in next month, but I've got quite a lot of stuff on, but I shall do my best. But I would really like to get that gouache video out because I should have done that a while ago, and it's always nice to try out new supplies as well. Thea's already dressed, she's ready to go. You're very welcome, Thea. Thanks everyone for joining me, especially for our further afield cavers that maybe don't get to join in on Wednesdays. It's always really lovely to see you on a Saturday morning like this. So please enjoy your weekend, everyone, and I hope that you get everything done that you want to get done, or not get done as the case may be. And I'll see you back here in the cave really soon for more live streams and more videos. Enjoy yourselves, everyone. I'll see you later.